Alrighty then, so we are ready for the first run of the day, which is by FailRacer, so I'll let him take it away. So the floor is yours, FailRacer, go for it.
Alright, welcome to Cars PSP, which is, funnily enough, a tie-in game for a movie tie-in game. Yeah, that sounds weird, but it works. And it's pretty entertaining, even if it's a bit straightforward as a speedrun, but we will dive in on what makes it very entertaining to run, and probably even watch, since the game keeps it fresh all the time. So yeah, I think I'm ready to start the run, and the timer should start as soon as I hit X on. It should be evidenced by audio clue. Alright.
Don't do this, no. Oh dear.
5,
Sorry,
4,
I'm muted.
2, 1, and we start. So, the biggest game mechanics that go into the run are perfect start, which you can just witness right before the timer says go, the countdown. Then it's drag. It allows you to gain a lot of boost right at the start. And then we have power slide and boost, which make up pretty much the biggest driving technique in the whole game, which I opted to call power slide boosting, and you'll see why in a second. Basically, power sliding pretty much locks you into a certain at when you do a small, and it can be used in conjunction with boosting to maintain at the top speed most of the time. So just like this. And yeah, since we're pretty much at the top speed most of the time in the run, well, we use the character with most top speed for the most of it, being Mater. It's like 13 miles per hour difference between Mater and McQueen. But the thing is, Mater is a pretty challenging car to control, especially on more mid-game part of the run, where there are sharper corners and different environmental hazards, such as tornadoes in the Turbine Canyon, Frank spawning in on Frank's field, etc, etc. But I'll be sure to make it through with ease. And yeah, the game really does keep it fresh all throughout, with the tracks being creative with layouts, with all sorts of different sceneries. And dynamically changing tracks. You'll see that soon, I think, in Radiator Cap Run, with shortcuts pretty much unlocking as the race goes on. And yeah, drafting is very important in the game, since it allows you to get a lot of boost early on and pretty much sustain it for the rest of the run. And yeah, since you use power slide boosting, you basically only tap boost in conjunction with power slide, so you pretty much are capable of maintaining the amount of boost you have. Especially since you also have boost pads all over the track. And yeah, you can unlock this shortcut on the left, which I just passed with red guarding it. But in a full game run, like on a 3-lapper, it's pretty much not really useful, since the time saved from using the shortcut is not sufficient to make up for the time loss on taking a detour. And yeah, another thing, as you could just see, I went through the mud pool with a power slide. Usually, like normally, at least I believe that's what developers intended, is for mud pools to significantly decrease your speed, which they do if you drive normally. But you can just power slide through them and yeah, not lose all that much speed at all. Okay, this was almost scary. But the thing is, you cannot power slide boost through them, because that causes the terrain to freak out and spin you out, basically stripping you of the control of the car. Frustrating thing that can happen sometimes. It also can happen on the jumps, and it's pretty frustrating in a run. But since it's a showcase right now, I might as well go and show how it works later on when presented with an opportunity. And yeah. That was totally not what I intended to happen, but to be honest, Radiator Cap Run is pretty much one of the most difficult race starts in the game, because of the cars you have at the start, their alignment, and yeah, the cars you face in a race and the way that they are placed at the start, it's not random at all. It's simply determined by which car you use, and for story mode it's a choice between Sally, McQueen and Mater. Sally is pretty much all control, no top speed, a lot of acceleration, which just doesn't find a good use in the run, since power slide boosting takes care of maintaining top speed for you, and just boosting in general combined with drafting takes care of acceleration. Alright, and just saying, we're gonna see an Easter egg right now on this race, hopefully, if I don't mess up like the driving in this lap. Basically, if you are fast enough, you can see DJ, the boss of the next event, and like this whole segment. You can see DJ driving And here we go. Oh, yeah. Alright, I thought he would be behind, but yeah. I was a little too late. So, yeah. Here we go. And he just jumped out of the track. I believe that Easter egg was, like, added for stuff like playthrough with cheats, but power slide boosting is so OP, you basically get it in a normal playthrough.
Hey, I hope you like music.
Alright. So here we hold boost just to follow DJ and get all the sweet boost from drafting. And it's gonna be fine for the rest of the race. Alright, let's go. And right now, we're gonna have this shortcut unlocked, because in boss races, like, there are unlocking shortcuts, and they are unlocked by the time you do boss race. So the boss race is pretty much a race where all the dynamic stuff already happened. You will see it later in boost race, where the lightning strikes would open two shortcuts during the normal race, and they would remain open in the boss race with boost. Alright. This jump is actually pretty dangerous. Just saying. Like, if you power slide in the wrong way into the shortcut, it can easily spin you out. And all in all, Cars PSP is a pretty unforgiving game to speedrun. But all the same, is a very fun run. At least once you reach a certain level of consistency. And yeah, speaking about the cars we use, other than Mater, the only other car we're gonna use in the run is McRaeathon, which is basically to be safe for the boost segment, since it features very tight tracks. Very tight tracks with tight corners and lots of environmental hazards.
Oh man.
And McRaeathon is pretty much amazing acceleration, very forgiving handling, as well as very forgiving boost acquisition. Alright, let's go. That was a super clean start, just saying. And yeah, since this shortcut with mod features a little incline, it's a safer bet to just jump over it, as developers pretty much intend you to jump over the mud pools everywhere, but most of the time you can just drift around. And yeah, continuing the talk about the opponent's alignment, Cars PSP is a game that features pretty much no RNG at all. Like, you can say that collision is pretty random, but otherwise the patterns... Oh, okay, I lied. Actually, and it is evident in this exact race, since the rocks that fall after the shortcut, it's a random which falls on which lap. But since it pretty much doesn't affect the run at all, I wouldn't really count it. And yeah, here's another dynamic shortcut which unlocks on the second lap and stays unlocked from there on. Alright. So far, by the way, surprisingly clean performance. Like, I'm only 11 seconds in the red. Which is to say, in my PB, the DJ segment, which we just went through, is pretty incredible in terms of execution, since it's about just a few seconds off my sum of best. And I would argue my sum of best is pretty optimal. And yeah, lap and opponents. Here we go. And this track is pretty dangerous for multiple reasons, and you'll see why.
Show some respect here.
Just to ask, have we got time for a quick donation?
Of course we do.
So we got 25 bucks off Amesso saying, yeah, ka-chow. Good luck, FailRacer, and all the other racers. Running for a good cause.
Hell yeah. Thanks for the good luck. And exactly, ka-chow. Although we're not gonna see the bearer of this beautiful catchphrase until far later into the run. And yeah, this is one of the reasons this track is pretty dangerous. The Dust Devils can push you around in a very harmful manner, but I hope I'll be able to avoid them pretty well. And yeah, hi Chleba, by the way. I saw you wish me good luck on my own channel, and thank you for that. Alright, and another reason is the jump into the big shortcut, where you can spin out if you power slide in the wrong way while entering it, or while dropping into it. Like, you can power slide in the wrong way when you hit the ground, and the game just gets very confused with terrain. Okay, yeah, here's an example. Here's an example of what can happen. This shortcut is another dangerous place, but I have not had that spin out for a while.
Shoot, this ought to be in Guinness Book right here.
Yeah.
Holy shoot.
Oh, hello, J-Man. Nice to see you here. All the amazing familiar faces from
Look at me.
Cars and Need for Speed community over here. Just a small shout out to my guys. And yeah, this race, this track, the Turbine Canyon, is gonna be featured in a boss race a little bit later on. And thanks a lot for the good luck, G-Man. Alright, at least I'm good at evading those devils today.
Boy, that's good.
Ah, yes.
Well, that's good. I won. W.
And now one of the most dangerous tracks in the whole run. Very tight road and Frank. Pretty much.
Hey, show some respect here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was that collision with McQueen was pretty unfortunate. Although it's almost unavoidable. Since the optimal path to take at the start. And yeah, another case of just power sliding through the mud pools. And here we see another case of a shortcut, well, quote unquote shortcut, not really being useful at all. As we could also see in Desert Canyon Dash, which is like the third race we've been through, where I talked about unlocking a shortcut with Red, the fire team car, fire truck. Come on, I sometimes correct words just slip right out of my head. So yeah, there were two other cases of not taking shortcuts because not really worth it. With Red being that the time you take to unlock the shortcut is not worth it in the long run. Okay. That was, yeah, totally on me. And the second one, there was a wooden structure through which you can jump, which is not worth it because jumps are generally not worth it in this game, except for the cases where you cut big portions of the track with them. For example, those jumps on the left. And yeah, the reason being that your speed is greatly reduced after the jump. And yeah, of course, I'm pretty heavily in the red after this one since Frank's field in my PB was very close to perfect. And yeah, this is one of the races where you don't opt to draft your opponent, since there is no good lineup to draft Sontnod, and you're gonna get boosted this track via different sources, just like the jump over here. Okay, that was almost very dangerous. Very dangerous, if you know what I mean. This is kind of a tiny reference to sneak in. Okay, that one was a messy serpentine. Okay, overall acceptable first lap.
Look at me!
And yeah, it's curious how with a certain level of consistency you can perform times very close to your PB. Because, for example, on this run, I honestly expected to be a 56, all things considered. So yeah, my estimate is pretty generous, let's say this.
Shoot, this ought to be the Guinness Book right here. Holy shoot!
Yeah, it's a decent stunt run. The other track where not drafting the opponents was the right call at the start is Radiator Springs, since you can pretty much take the boost pad at the start. Oh, okay, yes. The door for non-believers is right there, Cap.
Where'd that go?
Mater is the most powerful being in this multiverse. Although, in Mater National, for example,
Oh, that's good.
it's another Cars tie-in game. In Mater National,
I won!
he goes only 180. If I recall correctly, that is.
You can eat my dirt!
Hey, show some
And he's still pretty OP there.
Where you come from?
Alright. This is one of the very fun tracks, since the layout is pretty complicated, but at the same time it's pretty free for most of the time. Most of the time, as you will see.
Slow down.
Alright.
Oh, that's shoot! This ought to be the Guinness Book right here.
And
Holy shoot!
another thing you can see throughout the game is how extensively Cars PSP makes use of its mechanics in the track design. Jumping, boost pads, etc. Challenging corners, different paths to take in a track. Iron Horse Junction, the track we are on now, is a great example for it. Okay, it was almost scary. I probably should have taken a wider line.
This is a train yard.
Okay, better safe than
Oh,
sorry.
that's good.
Another wonderful thing about Cars PSP is its speedrunning community. It's very small but very dedicated. It's like 3 people running the game currently, including me, but we are all dedicated to bring this game to its absolute limits.
You got a hot
Hence why the individual levels, story mode, and other categories are getting closer and closer to being very optimized.
what's the hurry?
And thank you for the good luck and the IRH.
Shoot, this ought to be in the Guinness Book.
Alright.
Right here.
Okay, this was almost dangerous, since I could have hit the second construction and lose all my speed, but thankfully I was able to time my jump just right. Alright. Ah yes, ah yes, ah yes.
And it's fun, 'cause I'm number.
And this is another case where you can just take a boost pad at the start.
Look at me. You can eat my dirt.
Alright. And it's one of the tracks
I'll see you later.
where you have to take active part in unlocking the shortcuts. And this particular one, it cuts a humongous part of the track. To think that I didn't know of its existence when I was starting to run the game. Good times. And to think that I didn't know of its existence when playing it casually in my childhood. So yeah, the thing is, pretty much the reason I started to run the game is that Cars PSP is one of my childhood gaming experiences, which I still remember pretty fondly. And I'm glad that it transitioned into another fun experience as a speed game. Another curious thing is that we're already past half of the run.
Holy shit.
Which is wonderful. It really flows fast. And again, the game keeps it very fresh throughout. Even considering that it recycles the tracks for both races. Well, 4 of the 5 both races. Alright. This was pretty messy execution though. I've lost speed in quite a few places on this Torque Town. And I didn't even get a perfect launch. So there's that as well. Okay.
Racing is fun, 'cause I'm
This is one of the more curious tracks in this game. By the way.
Crazy hot rodder.
Okay, this didn't go as planned, and I still have to practice this drafting section. And you could just drive through those obstacles. Well, drift. Power slide. Whatever the name is. Thank you for the good luck, Franzola. So yeah, this is one of the more curious tracks in this game, and Sepp and I actually attempted to break it in some ways but so far to no avail. The checkpoint system is pretty strong in this game, and even the reset mechanic is very restrictive, so you cannot use it to your advantage really. With all that said though, I would love for this game to become more broken, have more glitches, because in my opinion it deserves a lot of attention and praise for what it is already. Alright, yeah, you gotta be cautious of the oncoming cars, since they actually can swerve you far off your way. Which is not a thing you want when going straight. Okay. And I kept the speed. Good. Oops. That was almost very dangerous. Although sometimes it just so happens that you clip through other opponents for unknown reasons.
Oh, that's good.
Cars PSP just being itself. Fillmore, please, don't scare me like that.
I done won.
Let's go.
Checking out my decals, huh?
2, 1, go. And yeah, this is pretty much the reiteration of the track, with Wingo as your opponent.
I'm going faster than you. I let you do that. Oh no!
And hopefully I will be able to display better performance on this track right now.
Oh, that's good.
Overall, you can just ignore those ramps, which, as you can see, you can switch on and off. Yeah, you can just ignore them and pretty much power slide boost through the whole straight. Wonderful mechanic. I'm pretty sure it's not intended, but it works wonders in terms of entertainment and actually having the game be as fast-paced as it is. Alright. Very clean jump entrance. Hello, Wingo. We're gonna see him at least once more, I believe. Alright. Oh, this was... Wow. Wow, this was actually a very good lap 2. The thing is, that lap 2 was pretty much close to IL times, which are done with another character, Fabulous Hudson Hornet, which is quite a bit faster than Mater is.
Oh, that's good.
with the difference coming from the NOS acquisition, the boost acquisition rather, and the small difference in top speed. Alright, and now we switch to the face character of this whole franchise. Let's go.
Come on, I'm ready for anything.
Ka-chow, my brothers.
You know, it's all in the preparation. You think you're some kind of hot shot, huh? Yeah! Thanks, folks.
Oh,
Be a
nice.
movie.
Now while your gas cap's open.
So, the boost segment really does feature some of the most challenging tracks in the whole game, and you'll see why right now. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, yeah!
Failed to maintain the speed there. Whatever. As long as I'm not spun by one of those trucks, it's gonna be all fine.
Kids, don't try this at home. Oh, yeah!
Those trucks, by the way, their paths, like their spawns and later movement on the map, they're not random, which is a great thing in my book. Okay, that was a very good bounce. Okay, I should be able to overtake him. Good. Ah, yes. Turn right, turn left. I think it was the other way around in the movie. Turn left to go right, or something along these lines. Oh, okay. Yeah, I should not have gone for that shortcut considering my placement there. Shame.
Kids, don't try this at home.
Ka-chow, my man.
Focus, McQueen. Oh, yeah!
Okay. That was almost scary. You're breaking the car. Oh. Yes, I quite forgot about this one.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, those patterns. You have to keep a close eye on those.
Oh, yeah! I am good. Oh, you like that? Have some more. Alright, Speedy, I'll see you later.
Fun fact, as a kid, I used to be kinda scared by this track,
I think I got
since lightning's all around, the rain, all that stuff. I don't know.
You know, it's all in preparation. Picking on the little guy, huh?
Used to be quite intimidating to me.
Oh, where'd you come from?
And it's another one of those
Don't try this at home.
with pretty difficult layout. And another one of those with dynamic shortcuts. You'll see what I mean in the next lap. And I guess 40 minutes into the run, it's time to touch on the story of this game. So you start in a race with your friends on your Radiator Springs Speedway. You're just kind of vibing, then the whole gang, the delinquent road hazards, shows up. They challenge you to race. Then you race with your guys on all those tracks around Radiator Springs, and then you race the bosses, being the delinquent road hazards themselves, DJ Snotrod, Wingo, and Boost. And after you defeat Boost, well, you'll see. So yeah, that's the first of the cuts that gets unlocked. And the second one is coming up. It's pretty dangerous one. Up until the moment you actually learn how to properly take it. Oh, and the next one, oh, the next race, the next track is a legend among men. Time to reject this IL run from Most Wanted 05 leaderboards, Kappa. So yeah, this track is like literally the most difficult track in the whole game. The layout is extremely difficult, and there are minecarts all over the place. And you can also fly out of bounds easily. Here's another power slides application, by the way. If you power slide into smaller objects, like minecarts, you can actually ignore the loss in speed they may incur, and maybe even gain a speed boost. But it also makes it way harder to control your directions. Okay. First lap done, far from optimal. But, I mean, with this beauty of a track, it's kind of expected.
Oh yeah!
And considering we're in Crankshaft, I think it's a point to address some design choices in this game in regards to the tracks. So the thing is, most tracks are actually designed for cars like Sally because of their lower speed and superior handling. But we're speedrunners, we brute force it with McQueen. And maybe even later someday, when I actually put myself to properly testing how Mater times stack up against McQueen's on boost segment. For example, on Diesel Forest, McQueen and Mater are pretty equal with similar execution.
Kids, don't try this at home.
And and with that you should consider having Mater only for boost segment. It eliminates the switch to McQueen at the end of the game, which is around 9 seconds time save. But the question is, will Mater be capable of keeping up with McQueen on the other two tracks? And this is a tough question to answer. This is a tough question. Okay, so as you can see, I had almost no speed loss from that minecart.
Oh yeah, I am good.
By the way, as you could probably hear, I use keyboard. And yes, I actually run this game on keyboard, as it personally suits me best, considering that
One for the fans.
on keyboard I can execute power slide boosting the most consistent.
Ow! Kids, don't try this at home. Focus, McQueen.
So as you can see, both shortcuts are now unlocked in the boss race mode. So we zoom in.
That's what I'm talking.
Okay. That was completely deserved. Also, Lightning Strikes Back is a gem, as well as the Delinquent Road Hazards theme being, I think it's High Speed Heist. Yeah, it should be. They are both bangers, and you should look them up and listen. Right now I'm keeping music very low, for the reason being most of this game's soundtrack, let's say this, it's not really copyright friendly.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I just advise you to check those two out
Fans.
if you didn't know about their existence. Alright, and we're closing in on Boost Race Finale. And soon the finale of the game.
Oh yeah!
So, as it turns out,
You took that.
it was Chick who sent those guys all along. So we race him now on
Hey, you sure you're in the right
Carburetor County Speedway. And yeah, the note for the staff. The timer stops when I cross the finish line of this race on third lap.
Oh, you like that? Have some more. Show off. Ooh, snap.
Yeah,
Hold on a
it
second.
can happen.
Ka-chow.
Sometimes these collisions are very messy, but thankfully
Preparation.
there are no more tires
Kids, don't try this.
blocking that shortcut. Well, those two shortcuts. So we're gonna be fine for the rest of the race, please, please. Oh yeah, and this grass is actually quite different in terms of
Check yourself.
responses to your inputs. Okay, okay, we're fine. Okay, from now on we're totally fine. And it's gonna be a mid 56. Which is a very decent time, if you ask me.
Oh yeah!
Avoiding those tires like a Chad.
I am quicker than quick.
Alright. 56:31 on my timer. This was pretty entertaining to run. And let's go through the final cutscene, because it's just wonderful IMO.
Rigged, fixed. I want a rematch.
Aw,
Just
come
to give
on,
you a
Chick,
heads
if you're
up,
gonna
your
be
time was
loser,
a
why not be a
56:32.
graceful loser?
Amazing.
Oh, and guys, thanks for playing. Hope you enjoyed.
Thanks
your
for
stay.
all the
Run
GGs.
safe now, okay? Come on, everybody.
It
We
was
got some
amazing to
celebrating
run on this marathon. Great to come back to one of my favorite speed games. Yes, it actually is one of my favorite speed games of like all the time. And yeah, wonderful final cutscene. Chick, if you're gonna be a loser, why not be a graceful loser? Oh, this line is always so amazing. So yeah, big thanks for having me. Thanks for all the GGs and support throughout the run. And I guess now I'll just handle the reins to Viper.
Yep. No worries. Thank you very much again, FailRacer, for doing that run. It's been awesome to see how broken the game is. Didn't think it was that broken, but there you go.
Yeah, it's both broken and not, and it's just very fun because of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's one of them things where some games look basic on the surface but can be completely broken behind the scenes. Speaking of stuff that can be broken, We're going to go to a quick intermission, but before anything else happens, we will be quickly restarting the stream just because of the fact that we do have a slight technical issue behind the scenes. So we'll be right back within the next few minutes, so please stand by.
Big thanks for having me.